What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of UnSKripted. Listen, it's Tuesday nights. You know what that means. I have some of the biggest, the baddest, the best wrestlers and talent and singers. We'll see tonight because we're adding an addition to the wrestling talent. We got a super talented, a person who you might not know this actually. Was the voice behind a lot of the TNA theme songs. We'll talk about that more. I'm looking forward to talking about that. But of today and yesteryear and tonight is no different. So that's the rest of my intro there. So why is tonight no different? Because this was a really interesting grab for my show today. As y'all know, this is a big wrestler Q&A that I do with the SK Nation every single week. And I'm good friends with Vince Russo, and him and I were actually discussing people to come on the show because I actually consult with him sometimes. I'm like, man, what do you think? I think I should be on the show. I've interviewed so many people, and I love interviewing people for the first time. And I've interviewed probably close to 400 plus people now. I think I'm at like 21 or so WWE Hall of Famers, and so it's a lot. I've interviewed a lot of people, and so it's hard to get first nowadays. And so he was like, bro, GoldyLocks, bro. She's really good. She's a really good promoter, bro, and she's really good. I was like, okay, cool. I would be interested in learning her experience in early TNA, as an interviewer and an on-screen personality. Ended up bringing in Alex Shelley and managing Abyss and all that. So that was pretty fun. People might not know she had 2 matches in her career too. So without further ado, we'll talk about all of that with GoldyLocks. How are you tonight?
Wow, look at all the bling. I'm a grab. I've never been referred to as a grab before.
Grab, yes, you're a good grab.
I'm not mad at that. Yes. Indeed. Welcome, everybody.
Great to have you on the show tonight.
Woo!
Indeed.
I am wearing a top. I know it's a family show. I'm just letting you know that the temp in Nashville is a little heist. So I'm going to ditch this.
What's the temperature?
Grab is going to ditch this. But yeah, I do have a nice Nice top on. So I just don't
Indeed.
want to give you the wrong idea.
Risque.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So what are you up to nowadays? Speaking of top on, and people may say, oh man, GoldyLocks has her top off. No, she's not.
No, I don't. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
What are you doing nowadays? Touring? I know we talked some backstage of what GoldyLocks.
Yeah, a lot, doing a lot. But I'd like to say first off, thank you very much for having me and my top on the show.
Yes,
and what like your intro with the countdown and the smooth groove like that. Was that original music? Is that yours or?
I love chill hop instrumental music.
Okay,
So
that's what that's called.
Yeah, it's called chill hop. Yes.
Back in my day, it was just called R&B. Now they got
R&B. Actually, we're close in age, you and I. So yeah, indeed. So I was listening to this song. Probably I don't know. It's been about 3 or 4 years now. Probably but 3 or 4 years. And I was like, man, this song is really cool. And so I always love to have those songs like as a part of my shows. And I asked the composer of the show of the song. I was like, man, can I use this song as some of my videos, my shows? It was like, sure. So I was like, well, there you go, sweet.
All right.
So now that's the theme song of my of this show, this particular show every week. So
all right, and that was I'll Be Sure, or no, I'm just playing.
Yeah, right. I can tell you.
Keeping it old school. Okay. Yeah.
What was that? 1988? It was around 88.
A long time ago. It was a long time ago.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm a trivia guy. So let's see what's give me the closest date. What's your guess? Night and day from I'll Be Sure.
I was a little tiny girl in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I grew up, and my record deal, one of them was with Prince, and had a lot of the New Power Generation guys playing in our band, and
I
was just always the little kid running around trying to impress everybody by knowing things, and it was a lot of things in a man's world, a lot of male comedians, stuff that no child should be listening to, let alone like a girl. It wasn't right. So I just remember the neighborhood that I was in, which was close to where Prince went, the same high school, North. I grew up in North Minneapolis. Like that's the kind of stuff that everybody was listening to. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people don't know this, but my manager during that time was Dick Scott. And he used to talk like this. And Dick Scott, I'm a legend, I guess he was a legend. Dick discovered New Kids on the Block. Dick discovered Marky Mark and Donnie Wahlberg and Tiffany and Mint Condition. And, he just was like the pioneer, a lot of this stuff. Dick got his start with Berry Gordy and the Jackson 5. And then he was, just running errands and helping out. And then he graduated to Berry Gordy's like personal assistant with basically his job was to I can't say that stuff. Sorry. To block Diana Ross from finding out where he was in the hotel. And that was Dick's job. And then Dick did more stuff with Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, and Motown and all of this. And then kind of went on his own and started managing people. And he discovered with a guy named Maurice Starr, he discovered New Kids on the Block. And then years later, fast forward, started with a new boy band, and I was the photographer for this boy band. And he was like, "Girl, what do you do, girl?" We were on a tour bus, and I was like, "I am the photographer." He's like, "Nonsense, silence. You have something secretive about you." And I was like, "All right, Dick, I'm a singer, and I'm just, sing for me now." And I was like, "Really?" Like in the middle of the night on a tour bus, he's like, "Sit down by Papa Bear." I'm GoldyLocks. You tip by Papa Bear and sing me a song. And then like the rest was history. He became my manager, and the shadiest manager. If you could not imagine how many times you could get messed up till sunrise. He had a way to double dip, triple dip, quadruple bill, law firms, all that. He was so scandalous. And I learned really quickly in this industry, like assume everybody's going to hose you over. And if they don't, be pleasantly surprised. So yeah, interesting trivia though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, back to that. Like I met all these crazy guys like the Albie Shores and the Tone Lokes and all that through. Dick always had all these crazy men around him, not those guys, other ones. And they did run with a lot of crowds that I got to meet a lot of those guys. So trivia, I have no idea. I just know that I thought that was One Fine Brother, and I listened to that CD over and over and over.
So pick a year. So here's your music trivia. What year did Night and Day come out? Just, I mean, it's okay if you're not right. It's totally fine. What year would you say?
I have no idea. You said 88. Sounds good to me. I don't know. What was it?
The answer is. Hold on. Where's my drum roll?
It's gotta be.
Where's my drum roll?
Younger than that. It's got to be younger than that.
What do you think?
I don't know because I wasn't around. Let's see. Hold on. 78, 98. I was really, really young when it came out, and I don't think I was out when it was. I think I didn't get it till I was a little older. I don't know. 86.
1988.
Oh, you were right. You already knew. Whatever.
Yes,
Whatever.
Yes, indeed. You ready to get into these questions?
Oh, we're doing questions? I don't know. I have no idea what this even is. You just said come on my show.
It's a 30-minute Q&A show, but you're making it much easier for me. Because,
it's 30. I don't know. I was just going to say, I wonder how long this is. My eyelash is coming out. So
no worries. No worries. You ready, Rock?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Kelvin is asking, how was it working with the rookie Alex Shelley?
Am I supposed to give a shoot answer for this?
Yes.
Sure. And I'll be, transparent, even if Alex ever tuned into this. I thought it was great. I found out later on he hated my guts. Didn't even know. So, you know what? You're a great actor, Alex, because I always thought at least we were decent colleagues. But my answer would be I had a great time with him. He was cool to work with. He was a team player. He always was working out. I always saw him working out before the matches. I thought he was great. And then I found out later on that he just thought I was disgusting to work with, hated working with me, disliked me profusely, hated me. I don't even know what his beef was with me. Maybe I was unprofessional to him because I wasn't a wrestler. I don't know. But my experience with Alex was everything that I said. And I've nothing bad to say about the guy.
So that's some of the worst beef to have is beef that you have no clue with.
No, doctor of philosophy.
Psychology.
Excuse me, psychology. My bad.
That's
it's the worst to have if you're a broken human being who worries about what everybody. That is not my problem. I don't take on your stuff. That is with you. Like I said, I'm at the place in my life where I celebrate me. I celebrate God the Father, my spirituality, my friends, my family, my colleagues. There is not one person on this planet that I hate or even really dislike that much because I just figure, you know what? Things didn't work. The seasons change. They don't like me. You can only be the best person that you can be. Now, was there a lot of stuff I would go back in TNA and fit? Oh God, I was arrogant. I thought I knew it all. I was a young, dumb kid that was not prepared for the ride that was given to me. I was not prepared for the opportunities and the blessings that came my way. But I apologize a lot because my podcast is basically a redemption for all my TNA friends. And they always say you weren't that bad or you were pretty cool. Or I guess in my mind, I think I was worse than I was, but definitely not in Alex Shelley's. I just think, and I tried to talk to him at the Slam, whatever anniversary show it was for Impact last year. I tried to talk to him and he had nothing to do with me. And that kind of burned for a quick second. But then I thought, it's flipping 20 years ago.
You know, 20 years.
Get over it. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I feel bad for you that whatever it is that I did to you to make you dislike me so much that 20 years couldn't just, because I saw people that weren't really high on my list at that show. And I gave them the time of day and I was gracious and I was kind because it's 20 years. People change,
So much freedom and letting go, especially.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Or never even holding on in the first place.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with that. But a lot of times people do hold on for things that.
They do.
Yeah,
That's a different point in your life.
yeah,
And if you're
indeed.
listening right now to that first question, thanks for answering or asking that, sir. Just you got holding on to things hurts you
Oh yeah,
way, way more than it does that other person. They're not thinking about you. They're on to the next thing.
rent free in your head, and it ain't worth it. They're, they're living rent free in your head, and that's not worth
Good
it.
point. That's a real nice phrase.
Yeah,
All
indeed.
right.
Thank you very much.
Next question.
That's what I do, right? That's what I do.
Come on, Doc.
All right, here we go. Russo brand over strong. Ben Hameen coming soon, Dr. Chris. I've had Ben Hameen as a host on my Legion of Raw show before, I believe.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant guy. Too smart for his own good. That is one. He has helped me build my entire Patreon,
Very
come
nice.
up with the categories, the names, brilliant marketer, brilliant mind, so educated as you must be on so many different topics in so many areas. It's scary. Just wow.
And a really good villain.
Yeah. Or heel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Villain.
Yeah,
Come on now.
yeah.
Get the term.
Villain as far as like fake villain,
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I stand
heel
corrected.
villain or rule breaker if you want to go old school. That's how I used to be in the magazines. It's like the good guys and the rule breakers or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bill Apter used to write stuff about that.
Oh, Bill Apter.
Bill's
in his own lane.
Bill works for Sportskeeda too.
Who doesn't he work with? He's tour with. Bill's amazing. Bill's a good, very dear friend.
He is indeed. Let's see here. Elvis is asking, what was it like when you met New Jack?
Oh, chaos. Absolutely. Are these questions live?
Yeah.
Oh, Elvis, what's up, brother?
Yeah.
New Jack, he was professional, very, very serious. He, Raven, Sandman, they really didn't talk to a lot of people. And I wasn't one of the boys, but even the boys they didn't talk to. They were all about whatever angle they were working that day, that week, that month, very concentrated. Always showing up, drinking. And no matter how many beers they all sat and had, crystal clear when it came time to, execution, what they were doing. Brilliant speaker, great on the mic, always kind to me. I like I said, dude, I had no beefs with anybody in this business at all. Everybody has just been, even Alex Shelley was very gracious to me. So everybody's real cool. New Jack was real cool. Very missed.
Very nice. What do you think? AJ's asking, what do you think of AEW and why did you never work for WWE?
I think AEW is amazing, and for reasons that you don't even know. For a shoot answer is during the pandemic when all my friends and everybody in this business and in music and entertainment were laid off, and there's no place to perform or work or wrestle. Tony Khan, that whole company, completely took care of everybody emotionally, financially, everybody. And when I hear no bitching, no complaining at a company, and I hear everybody that it's so easy to talk smack and everybody's just putting them over and praising them, I was like, what a solid company. So no matter what anybody says about the overall umbrella of AEW, I know differently, and Goldie knows. Why didn't I ever work for WWE? Because I didn't know anybody. I would love to work for any of those promotions. I would love to go. I've said it openly. I'd love to go back to Impact. I'd love to go to AEW. I'd like to get my rear end in better shape and go be the biggest villain or heel that you've ever seen in this century. Because now, 20 years later, I actually understand it and I know what I'm doing, and I'm coachable and teachable. And I would love to have somebody take me under their wing like Dusty Rhodes did before I left, or Kurt Hennig did, and really teach me some things and go out there and help be the glue and tell other wrestlers' stories, and possibly even tell some backstory that happened in TNA that is either created or we don't know. I think that would be really, really cool. It's just no secret that I am chomping at the bit to be a part of a promotion where I could do a great job and I would also be appreciated, and it would be very symbiotic. I would love that. So great question, Elvis. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you.
That's a great answer. So, what role would you want to play in TNA or in Impact if you had the opportunity to go back?
You
Right
know, I reached out to Scott D'Amore. I went and visited him at a very prominent hotel in Nashville in the lobby. And, you know, without giving too much of that away, I definitely had an idea of coming back. And without getting into it, because I still want to see this happen and it would be a surprise. It will be, whoever has me. I want to tell some backstory. And all I will say is it's 20 years ago.
now.
A lot could have happened in 20 years. I'll just leave it at that. And it could be very, very, very entertaining and very diabolical. That's it. Yes.
The suspense.
Yes. But it's good. I've thought about it. I've had 20 years.
Very nice. Rorito is asking, well, he's saying, greetings from Puerto Rico. What 4 wrestlers do you wish you had been a valet for? And the second question is, what 3 wrestlers inspired you to get into wrestling?
Is it? ¿Cómo te llamas otra vez?
Rorito.
¿Cómo se? Otra vez? Royoto. Mucho gusto. ¿Cómo estás? Buenas noches. Which 4 wrestlers would I wish I could have been a valet for? You know what? The Harts. I wished I could have done something with Bret and Owen. I wish that I could have been a valet for Randy Savage. He's bigger than life. And Jesse the Body, who is also from Minnesota, where I hail from. Those guys were just old school, bigger than life, selling it constantly, kayfabe all the time. I would have loved to be a part of any of those 4 guys, just because they took it so seriously. And I just think these days it's a little too watered down with I can't believe you. I can't believe you because on social media, you're doing something different. Not that I don't do the same thing, but like, who was I watching the other day? MJ, what's the heel's name?
MJF.
I forgot the last part. And I was showing a friend of mine, and it was just an autograph signing. He was just signing things and just throwing them on the floor and just being the biggest jerk possible. And I was like, God love him. You know, he's just it never ends. Like, I appreciate that. Yeah. So I would want a valet for somebody just super old school and true, who still had a little bit of humility. I know Bret really well. He's always been really cool to me. I never really got a chance to meet Owen, obviously, but he just seemed like a hell of a guy. And Jesse the Body was our governor for a while in Minneapolis when I was still living there. If that doesn't say like tall tale truth of integrity. And Randy Savage was so, gosh, his promos are just, they're like playing chess or like an onion. There's so many layers, and if you have to just, and he's so fast. And when I get going and I'm around the right people, I'm really fast. And I'd love a run for my money. So great question on that. And then what 3 wrestlers inspired you to get into wrestling? Andre the Giant, just because there was something about him that you knew he was doing his job, and then you knew he retreated after the matches and probably was a little lonely. Like, there was just something about his story. And I'm trying to think of other, Miss Elizabeth, I always really, really loved. Nice. And Captain Lou Albano, just because Cyndi Lauper was a singer that I loved growing up. And everything she did was running with all those wrestlers. And I just thought, well, if she likes him, I would like him. So those are 3 people. What a great question. Like, thank you so much. Yes.
Indeed. Let's see here. Jason is asking, do you ever think Impact will be on a normal channel that everyone has?
No, I don't.
Gotcha.
I think they're happier being where they are and comfortable, and they have the control that they need to. You think being on a regular channel, the grass is greener, but there's something about having the control over your product and your brand. And I think that they will always be where they are. They've worked really hard to get there, not to give that up.
XO is asking, any memories of the fellow Minnesotan, Curt Hennig?
Yes, absolutely. Curt was my mentor. Curt was secretly teaching me moves and helping train me to be in wrestling. A lot of people didn't know that. I'm watching the time. A trivia for you. Who's the question from? XO. That's the person.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Hennig is buried in the same mausoleum as my mother, and that's in New Hope, Minnesota. So about as close to my heart as you can get. Great question.
Yeah. One of the best workers ever. Yeah. Let's see here. James Earl Cash is asking, what female wrestlers today would you consider being a mentor for?
Would I be a mentor for?
Yeah.
You mean like people that are coming up in the business?
Yeah.
Oh God, I think I'm the last person to be a mentor. I've interviewed a lot of really great talent on Goldys Closet on Russo's brand, but honestly, honey, I don't think I'm cut out to be anybody's mentor. I think I've got, even 20 years later, I think I've got so much more to learn about the business that I would be the one being mentored, honestly. But great question, and I appreciate it.
Speaking of your interviews on Goldys Closet, who are a few interviews that has stuck out the most?
People that have canceled on me that were supposed to show up, and you're all hyped and then, but you know what? In all honesty, I've only had a couple who canceled. They said, I don't really do interviews anymore because I've had so many concussions. I can't remember anything. And even if I write it down on my calendar, I'm going to probably screw it up. So to quote Dr. Maya Angelou, believe people the first time they show you who they are or tell you who they are, because that's probably true. Who's the best? Ben Hameen has been on my show, who was absolutely brilliant and just talked of great things. I've had a lot of musical guests on my shows from many different bands that you all know and love. A dear friend of mine, Chris Henderson, gave a really interesting interview. One of the people that stands out is a woman who used to be a crack addict on the streets, prostitution, human trafficked, just all this stuff, and just has completely changed her life around and is out giving back and doing amazing things with organizations in the UK. Her story stays with me, just to hear how a mom would just abandon a kid because they just literally threw them away in a garbage, and just to see like how somebody with all of that trauma has overcome things and become this shining star and example of a human being. And then there's me like complaining about, Alex Shelley doesn't like me. It's like, so it's stories like that on Goldys Closet that will stay in my heart forever. And today I did an interview that will be coming out in a couple of weeks with a transgender man who is just completely dedicated to spending every dime of his life being an advocate for children not transitioning, or just the war on what's going on with kids. And it was very interesting coming from a gay woman who transitioned into a man at 42, not younger, and then telling people like, you don't realize when you transition, this is what physically you're going to deal with for the rest of your life, and this is what's going to happen to children, and why is nobody stopping these kids? But it's all money. And it was a brilliant interview. And it was an hour. Like, they wouldn't even stop talking. They had so much data and so many links to things that I've never heard about before. And I was just like heartbroken, but I was so happy to have him on my show, on our show, to just bring some light, because it's stuff that just constantly getting shut down on Twitter for telling the truth. Yeah. So those are four examples. Yes, we're at the end of the hour. Quiet, Goldie.
Yeah, very, very cancel culturalist. That's for
yes,
sure.
Yes. Good question. Thank you.
Let's see. Let's do one more question.
All right.
Rutel, what are 3 guests that you really want to get in your show? Mrs. GoldyLocks. Is it Mrs. or Ms.?
It's about as Miss as you can get, but Mrs. is fine. And we know that he's somewhere in Puerto Rico, so that's good. Appreciate it. No estoy cansada. And would you consider interviewing Mandy Rose? Of course, I would. I'll interview anybody that wants to come on the show. But as you know, Doctor, it's difficult to get people to come on and give up their time, and we're not always paying them. And it's a privilege to have people on. So what would I like to get on my show? 3 guests that I would really want to get on my show. I would love to interview Ric Flair. I've never interviewed Ric Flair. I would love to interview Stacy Keibler. There you go.
Yeah,
That's 2.
Yeah, that's
well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Mandy Rose is the third one. There you go.
Oh, what? Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to interview Mandy Rose?
Cool. Well, we're going to stop there. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Plug away. What do you got? I know you're on Russo's brand. You got your own show. You got tour dates. Where to find you on the Twitter webs, the Instabook,
it's just at
Facegram.
Goldie with a Y. What'd you say? What Spram?
I said Facegram and Instabook.
Exactly. Yeah. It's Goldie with a Y. GoldyLocks rocks. And that's on Twitter and Instagram. And there's so many pages, but I'd appreciate a follow. Check it out. Have a great Patreon. Always looking to have people pop on over there so I can give you my undivided attention. I appreciate you so much for having me on the show. This is an absolute blast. Great. So your show is people writing in, asking questions.
Yeah, I have a wrestler here every week, and people just ask questions for an hour.
Dang, that's a good gig. I want that one.
It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it every week. So, Rito is saying, I love to give an interview on your show about me overcoming my disabilities. Can you tell her that, Dr. Chris? So hey, contact her with at GoldyLocks with a Y, right? So yeah, just
GoldyLocks rocks.
Those GoldyLocks rocks.
Yes, okay, cool. Pretty easy. Yeah, you can't miss me.
Indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, GoldyLocks, Dr. Chris, UnSKripted. Have a good